Hi, welcome to our Two Cents podcast. This is Shauna.
And this is Denny.
Our topic today is going to be obedience drive versus hunt drive in detection dogs, and then high memory versus low memory in detection dogs. And this is our fourth episode? Um let's touch on the obedience drive versus hunt drive first. So kind of like what is that? Let's maybe define obedience drive versus hunt drive in detection dogs, kind of the pros and cons to having both of those drives in a detection dog, what we think is more profitable to have in a detection dog, and kind of go from there.
Yeah. Um, I feel like the obedience to like obedience versus hunt drive, I think it's more common in when you're doing lots of like lineups, walls, um like well anything, like really. It could be any lineup.
So like
Like the
repetitive things.
tubes. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Like I've never really seen it happen too much in a room, except that one time with Mano, but I don't feel like that's very common. Do
What
you?
what happened?
Remember when we were at Cameron Ford's and we put that magnet in the window and you were you were rewarding him at the window, and then we took that magnet down and he still wanted to go down up to that
Oh,
window?
would you call that obedience though, or would you call that like memory? That's where that could also be, I think that's a fine line too.
Well, I think it was obedience because you put that odor down somewhere else.
Right.
So I don't think that was memory because it like, you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I think for me, that's hard to say because, is he just going back to where he remembers it, or is he, is he being obedient to where he thinks it is? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know. I guess it's hard to like tell, right?
Right.
But yeah, I feel like it's. I mean, I guess that's not true though, because if I'm going to like a training place, and I used to train, um, at this training place pretty often when I was like still in the imprinting stages with Tanner, there would be like, let's say we would do a room, and we would do like, I don't know, like 3 hides upstairs and like 4 hides downstairs, but he would get all the hides, and then the next day I feel like he would still check those really like thoroughly. But yeah, that's, I feel like the next day he still like went and checked those. So would that be memory? That would be memory, I feel like, not obedience.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah, um I guess everyone has a little bit of a different maybe definition of obedience drive versus hunt drive, and high memory versus low memory. Because I guess my definition of obedience drive versus hunt drive would be like, so to me, obedience drive is the dog's driving force behind wanting to hunt is wanting to be obedient to me and hunting because I, as the handler, am asking the dog to, and they want to please me, they want to be obedient to me. It's not necessarily because they really want to find something out there and they really want to go and hunt. And then you have hunt drive, where it's more of like an unleashing of a drive, not a command, in my opinion, where the dog just has this crazy intense desire to find the target and will do absolutely anything to get the job done. Yeah, I think it could kind of all be mixed in, but that would be kind of my definition of obedience drive versus hunt drive. Obedience drive to me is, yeah, I'm telling the dog is going to hunt because I'm telling the dog to hunt, and the dog is obedient to me because I'm telling it to go hunt, not because it has a high hunt drive necessarily, but because I'm telling it to go do something. Versus a high hunt drive, the dog naturally just has a high hunt drive and is finding that self-satisfying in and of itself. And I think,
I feel like I feel like, yeah, I feel like those are all true too. But I think that, like, for example, like when we were at Cameron Ford's, um, like Tanner would do a lineup and he would be like this is boring. Like it was just like, because we don't do a lot of lineups, and just him being a seasonal dog, like he doesn't
Right.
find that fun, or it's not even that it's not fun, it's not challenging enough for him, and
Right.
that's where he starts to be kind of a jerk because it's not challenging enough for him.
Right. It's not a
And
real
I still
hunt.
feel and I still feel like that it's like still an obedience, not necessarily to me, but it's more of an obedience of him trying to like just sit anywhere because he wants that reward. Because for him, this isn't challenging. You know what I mean?
Right. So that's exactly what I mean is like, so I think his hunt is obviously higher. He's more of like a high hunt than a high obedience, I would say then.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because a lineup, I mean, is not a real
It's
hunt.
not challenging for him. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's not a real hunt by any
No, that's
means.
more like I'd say that's more like an odor wreck for a lot of dogs anyway. Like
Yeah,
I remember my
it's
first cert, like we would do lineups before we would go actually cert to make sure that they like know that odor.
yeah, yeah, just like a warm up. It's like a warm up
Yeah.
drill. They're
Like
just
a
drills.
motivational thing.
They're just
Yeah.
like drills. They're warm up drills and they're very repetitive. And I think for a dog that I don't know if doesn't need it is the right phrase, but
No.
it's like it's not a real hunt. And so I think for dogs that find that very like boring and repetitive, it can be just too boring, like you said, especially if
Mm-hmm.
like his main drive and his main satisfaction is
Hunting.
is hunting and that's where
Yeah.
he gets his satisfaction, then he's of course going to find that boring because his main like driver is not obedience drive.
Yeah.
Like, do you if you're entering a situation and he is for whatever reason not motivated or for whatever reason doesn't isn't finding motivation to search, do you find you asking him to search helps him, or do you feel like he's a selfish dog and you have to find another way to like motivate him?
See, like I'm trying to think about this. I've never had him not motivated to search. Like and like so on Wednesdays we train with like the police department out here, and we went to this like storage unit, and he's never been there before, and like we went through the door and the trainer just told us like where the start point was, and he was already like dragging me to like hunt. And it's like it was like a big storage room, like like there was like I don't know, like 4 or 5 hides, but I don't even feel like I have to say search. Like he
Right,
knows.
right.
And like he kind of just like knows. And then and he just goes like ham, like searching everything, like you can hear his nose, and like and he does so well, in those kind of situations. But then we did like a training with our company on Valentine's Day, and like he did really good in the rooms obviously, but then they did like the bags. Like I would say that's where he struggles, the bags.
Yeah.
The first time he did good, and then the guy was like, oh, do you want me to switch them up a little bit? I was like, I don't think he's gonna like that because he just already found it. Which honestly he didn't do as bad as he usually does, but I could still tell he was like getting a little frustrated and didn't want to do it
Like
again.
they were switching it up like a lineup.
Yes,
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah. So that's the only time he really struggles. And I would say that's generally where he struggles anyway, even at work. Like we just
So
did the
repetitive
animals.
things.
Yes, he doesn't. No, but then like vehicles, he's fine.
Okay. But do you
So
right, but do you find, I guess what I'm trying to say is like I'm trying to like make a connection of like do you find you asking him his obedience to you like helps him, or is he like, do you think he's like a selfish dog where like no, he doesn't care if you're asking him, he wants to know that like something is in it for him first.
Probably is like a little more selfish, I'd say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think like
'Cause I don't
that's
really feel like I'm like always like search, search. You know how there's like
for sure
some
handlers that are
handlers that are
repeating it a million times and the
yes.
dog's not doing
Yeah.
anything.
Like he's definitely not that type of dog at all. Like
Yeah.
he's doing it for himself. He's not doing it for me. He's
Oh,
doing it
yeah,
for
yeah,
himself
yeah.
and the reward, you know?
Yeah. I guess that's the point I'm trying to make is like there I think there are like a distinction of those two different type of detection dogs like in the field of like there are dogs that are doing it out of obedience because the handlers are asking them to. They're almost doing it out of obedience like
Hmm.
how dogs do a foos or a sit
Well, that's how
or
Oakley is.
like
That's how Oakley was.
yeah,
When I
yeah,
started with Oakley, that's
yeah,
exactly what it was, just obedience. Like,
yeah, it's
and she
like
would get really excited, but like I could tell she wasn't doing it because she was like enjoying it or like
yeah,
I wouldn't I guess it's not the right word saying she didn't enjoy it, but she
right.
was
But
doing it
there's a
for me.
difference. There's a
Yeah.
difference of the dogs that are doing it out of an obedience, like how they do like a sit or a foos or a down
Hmm.
or like, and then there are the dogs that do it with like a deep passion of like a hunt drive, or it's like an unleashing of like a search and like a hunt, you
Yeah.
know? And
Hmm.
there's like such a distinct passion. And I think like there's a time and a place for like each drives because I do think that like sometimes I don't think all dogs, but like there are some dogs that you might hit a wall of like they're really tired, they've been working a long time, they still have like 50 more bags to check, and like you're on a time crunch and you may not have another way to reinforce them, and you know all you have is asking them to search, and like maybe they do need to have like some type of obedience drive to finish the search. So I
Yeah.
do think like there is a time and a place, but like I do think the ideal like detection dog should have like more of the hunt drive than
Hmm.
like the obedience drive. Like I don't think that's like the I think it's like I'm not saying all dogs, but I do think the obedience drive is like the more like shallow drive, you know?
Yeah, for sure. Like more medium drive.
Yeah, yeah, and
Yeah.
it's like
Which
the
is
dogs
not
with the
like
hunt drive is like is like the deeper, more like passionate drive, but like I do think there's like a time and a place for like both drives to coexist in like a great detection dog.
right. Because I feel like Mano and Tanner are very similar in their drives. I feel like when they hunt, they're very
Yeah.
passionate about it. But also, I don't know how you feel about this, but I feel like dogs like them can also gas out earlier because they are always, they're so passionate, like and aroused almost, like, that I feel
Yeah.
like they get a little bit tired and a little bit more gas, like than versus a dog that's a little bit more medium drive, that's kind of containing that drive, and then like like you said, there's going to be time and place in both dogs,
Yeah.
but I feel like in the obedience drive they might have a little bit more gas in their tank.
Yeah. And I will say like like I think dogs that selfishly work for themselves, and if they do hit a point where they gas out, I think when they hit that point, if they have obedience drive, like that's where that can like almost like
They can.
pick up the
Yeah.
slack, you know? Like
Yeah.
it can like carry them until they're done with their work almost kind of a thing.
Yeah.
And that's where like it's like Asani has hunt drive, but then she also has obedience drive. She has more she has like a nicer balance of both. Whereas like Mano literally just has hunt drive. He has like kind of zero obedience drive to me. Like if I'm asking him to search and like he doesn't if he's not motivated to like if he doesn't feel like he
Like
wants
if he's like
to, he's
tired.
like
Yeah.
if he doesn't feel like there's something there in it for him, he's like he's like, F you. Like
Yeah, yeah,
there's
that's kind of how
nothing.
Tanner is
He's
too.
like,
Hmm.
and it's like
Yeah, especially when there's
you
blanks. Like,
yeah,
I don't think
it's like
people understand how hard that is for a dog.
yeah,
Like when you're doing like arenas and stuff like the NBA games and NHL and all that stuff, like those, I don't think people realize how big
and
those
how
area searches
much
are.
yeah, and like
Yeah,
how much you're searching with
it's a
so
lot.
many blanks, and if you don't have like
Yeah.
a reward system in place to like keep motivating your dog, like it's like extremely hard. And like there are a lot of new handlers that not a lot, but like new handlers that come in to work for our company, and they're just like asking me like, oh, like my dog has stopped searching, like how do you keep your dog to keep searching? Like my dog stopped searching after like one or two shifts, like how do you keep your dog searching? How do you keep your dog searching? And like you have to have like certain reward systems in place to keep your dog searching and keep your dog motivated. And it's just interesting how um sorry, I'm like getting off topic, but back to like the hunt drive and the obedience drive, how Asani has like a better balance of both, because when her hunt drive like kind of like knocks out, then her obedience drive, she'll hunt longer than Mano will probably, with no reinforcements in place.
Right,
I could have no reinforcements in place and never reward her, and she would hunt longer than Mano would. Mano
right.
needs like some type of reward, because like he he has no next to no obedience drive. But like Asani would then hunt longer than Mano because she's a lot
Yeah.
less selfish,
Hmm.
you know? So it's just like,
Yeah.
it's just
And
interesting.
I just feel like back to like what you were saying with the new handlers and stuff too. Like with the company that I'm doing the NBA stuff, like which is really, it's actually really nice. They do a lot of motivational heights, even like when we're doing a sweep,
That's
which is cool because
nice.
I've
Yeah.
never had that before with
No,
another
yeah.
company. So like obviously the motivational heights will be like kind of like backtracking like where we already searched, but like it all looks the same. Like all the floors look the same, so it almost like doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
But like they'll go around and like put it under a table or like, or in the trash can or something, and like and on each floor, like, well, not every floor, but like maybe every other floor they'll put somewhat, but it's nice to have like a motivational hide. It's not like super hard, but it's like something to like keep them going. And I feel like just because your dog's seasoned, like you should still do motivational hides for your dogs.
Oh,
Like,
yeah, totally.
like, and and I feel like that's how you keep your dog searching, is because you keep them motivated by doing little motivational hides like that. Like I'm not saying you have to do a hide that's going to be like super exerting and hard on top of your 8 to 10 hour shift, but something
Yeah.
easy just to like keep them going is going to help them out, especially with like newer dogs and newer handlers and stuff like that too. But I mean, I'm all for, just because Tanner's been doing this 3 years or whatever. I still like to reward him. Like I'm not saying every single time, but
Yeah.
he is the type of dog that still needs that motivation, because at the end of the day, like he's a selfish dog, and it's not like he's like, oh, I'm searching for my mom today.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I
you
think
know?
Nano and Tanner are very similar in that. Like
Mm-hmm.
they yeah, they do not they search for themselves, and they need that. And that's how they
Mm-hmm.
work, and they're not the type of dogs that are searching for us. And so, yeah, learning to like work with a dog like that
Yeah.
and have those like reward structures in place is like definitely a learning curve, because I had to do absolutely none of that with Asani. It was just like, oh,
I know.
clip her on a leash, let her go forever, and she'll literally go forever because she loves me so much, and that's it.
Yeah,
It's like
I
so,
know.
so
There's definitely going to be
funny.
like different ways I want to like imprint my next dog too. Just
Yeah.
because like I do want my dog to be like, I obviously want them to like hunt and enjoy the hunt. But I want like a little happy medium too. Like I don't want them to necessarily want the reward as much. I want them to just enjoy the hunt, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And then also the other day I was listening to Cameron's podcast, and he had a guest on, and he did like the electronic He's like
Oh
an
yeah, I saw
iconic.
that. Yeah.
Did you hear that one?
I didn't hear it, but
Well,
I saw the post. I didn't listen to
so
it.
I guess he has the guy has a Labrador, and they actually brought up high memory, and Cameron said that labs are like known for that.
Oh yeah,
Like
yeah,
most
yeah.
labs
I can see
have
that. They're
high
so
memory.
smart.
Yeah, which I thought was interesting. I guess there's like certain breeds that really just, but
That's
it's not really,
funny. I feel
it's
like
not a good thing though. It's not like really,
yeah.
it's not like everyone's like, oh, high memory, that's good, but it's really, it's kind of like a training error.
Yeah.
Like that's what I'm like kind of
Yeah, I
like
was
starting
talking
to
about
realize.
this with my friend today, how like high memory versus low memory, like it's good and bad in different contexts because like
Yes.
high memory versus low memory, like okay, when you're doing lineups and you're trying to get reps in, right? High
Right.
memory is annoying because you're like, dude,
Exactly.
stop falsing at this one. I moved it to 3. Why are you still stuck on
Yes.
4? Like it's annoying. But then high memory is actually very beneficial when you're imprinting because then you can maybe do it like a little bit quicker because the dog's like super super quick and remembers and
Yeah.
is really really good. So it's like in different contexts there's like pros and cons to high and low memory. So
Mhm.
it's very interesting because it's like okay, which do I prefer?
Yeah, but then low memory dogs, like you can get a ton of reps in and they're still like happy idiots doing the same thing over and over again. Like, is
Yeah,
that a good thing? I
right,
don't
but then
know.
it's like do they take longer to imprint? Then there's also that argument. Are they going to
Yeah.
remember odor? Are they going to take longer to imprint? Do they remember target odor? There's also
Yeah,
that
but then also
argument.
it's really annoying when if I'm like, thankfully I don't do this with my dog because um just because like I've been like moving around a lot, so it's not like I even had the opportunity. Only when I was like in the beginning with him, we obviously like we used a lot of the same facilities and stuff like that. But even then, like I would go, like I said earlier, like we would go to like a warehouse and we would do hides, and then even like if it was like 2 days later, he'd still double check like the fire hydrant if there was under that or something. Like, again,
Yeah,
that was like
yes.
annoying. Like you're like,
Yes.
dude, it's just 2 days ago.
I think it's I don't know. I think cuz Mano too, like we trained at this facility that we operationally search and work at months ago, like 2 months ago. And he's still in this locker room that we had a high hide in. He still goes and checks that same corner.
Isn't that
We
annoying?
worked there yesterday. He still goes and checks there. I mean, I don't mind it. If he went and sat there, then I'd be pissed. But like he just
Yeah.
goes and checks it. I think it's fine.
Yeah.
Like he's smart. Like I really don't mind that because he's not going and falsing there, so I don't mind it. Like he's aware of his surroundings. He's smart. Like I don't
It's
really
almost like
mind it.
intriguing though that they still remember that.
What?
It's like intriguing for me,
It's
like that you
crazy. I think it's cool. Like the dog's smart.
Yeah.
They're like aware of their surroundings. They're smart. I think I think it's kind of fascinating. Something else
Yeah.
that actually reminded me of that is um working the bat conservation at the energy farms out in
Mhm.
the Midwest with Asani. I've sent you like pictures of those, right? How like the big wind mills,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
they
The
all look
windmills.
they all literally look identical. Okay.
Yeah.
And all the fields are almost identical. They're all green. They all look almost identical. The dogs are in the car. You drive to them, but Asani, she knows exactly which one we are at because there will be certain like tagged bats at certain distances and bearings at certain numbered turbines.
It's wild.
And she knows because you have to go they do like carcass persistence trials just to like see like how the carcasses persist over a certain amount of days and like how they get
Mhm.
eaten by insects. So we have to go check them with the dogs and just note in a log their condition. And so
Yeah.
we go check them and dude, I don't all these turbines look the same. She doesn't see where we're driving and she somehow knows exactly what turbine we're at and exactly what bat is where. And they're
Wow.
all different. There's like hundreds of them.
Yeah,
She
it's
knows
insane.
exactly where it is. And it's like so wild, dude.
It
Like
really is wild.
that also blew my mind. Like so that and I've never really thought of her as like a high memory dog before, but like that also kind of has opened my eyes over the years of like, yeah, I mean, maybe she is kind of like a high memory dog, but also it's just fascinating how like
It is.
they all look the same to me, but she just knows exactly what one we're at and exactly what bat is where. And this is over months.
Wild.
And
Yeah,
she could not go check it for like a month or two, and I pull up to it and she knows exactly where it is. And I'm just like, that's so wild.
that is wild.
I know. It's so crazy.
I know. Dogs are insane. What else did we want to bring up?
I think we touched on most of that. As far as like high memory versus low memory, do you feel like one dog would be more profitable to have as a detection dog over the other?
I don't know. I feel
High
like I don't
versus
really.
low, or they both have pros and cons, like obedience versus hunt.
I mean, I definitely do feel like they both have pros and cons. I do think
Yeah.
that
Do you think one's
the
better than
high,
the other?
I think the high memory is probably like it's fascinating, but it's a little bit more of an issue when it comes to training
Yeah.
versus a low memory dog. Now, obviously, the high memory dogs are very smart, and yes, it's fascinating, but it can be frustrating when it's like when you're
Yeah.
training. You
Yeah.
know, like imprinting, yeah, sure, that could be cool,
Yeah.
but
Do you
as
think
long as
like
they're not like falsing, but I feel like my dog does false though when he does
Hawaii's high
lineups.
memory?
Yeah,
Yeah.
which is annoying.
Do you think it's just easier to make mistakes though with high memory dogs? Like as a handler?
Yeah,
Which
probably if you don't
yes.
if you can't read
Yeah.
your if you don't know how to read your dog, yeah, it
Yeah.
could be.
Yeah.
Thankfully, like Tanner doesn't false anywhere except lineups.
Right.
Like he's not falsing in
Which
rooms, he's not falsing,
which
which
I yeah. Go ahead,
yeah,
sorry.
which is okay. Not the saying it's like okay, but it's frustrating for sure. Like I was frustrated when we were at Cameron Ford's doing that.
Yeah.
Like I really was annoyed. But I could tell he was really not having fun. Like he really
Yeah.
wasn't enjoying it, you know?
Yeah. I mean I wouldn't really call that like a real like false though, because he's you know why he's doing it. It's because he wasn't doing it like on our real searches. I would
Yeah.
call it like he's bored, like we said.
Yeah. He's a brat.
Him's bored. Him
He's a
said
brat.
him said, "Let me go in the room with Sonny,"
Him said, "What is this? I don't want to do this anymore."
which is so funny because like I feel like him and Mano are very like similar, but like Mano was like he loves lineups, like he loves it.
I
He would do it
know.
all day, and he just like
Which is interesting.
it's
That's so
very
interesting.
interesting.
Because he's a high memory dog too, I feel like.
He is, but like I think maybe his foundation, because his foundation was lineup, so I think he sees a lineup and
True. And he's young.
he has such
I'm
a
forgetting he's
high like stim association with lineups that he just like I think he thinks it's the funnest thing ever, and so I think he
well, okay.
just
This is where I think, okay, so when Tanner was his age, he also liked lineups, now that I think about it. But
okay,
I think
yeah.
now that Tanner's, he was 3 at Cameron's, he's 4 now, he's 3.5 when we were doing the Cameron.
And man, it
Just
was
going from like being on tour with Hamilton for like almost 3 years, like, and doing like building searches every day, 6 days a week. We didn't do lineups. Like I had never did
yeah,
lineups with him. We did only area search outside. We did stuff inside and all that kind of stuff. And then yeah, we did bags and here and there. But like now I think about it, like it was only like
yeah,
few bags here and there, so he
yeah,
wouldn't false or be bored.
yeah,
Then we would do like the mail and stuff like that. So like that's another thing you have to like look at age
yeah,
too. Like dude, when I first did boxes with him, he would scream every time he saw boxes, like screaming to do them.
Yeah.
Now, I don't think he would be that excited to do them because they're too easy for him. But I do think
Yeah.
it comes with age and experience and like how seasoned they are. But
Yeah.
I guess it's
Yeah,
what
it could
every
yeah,
dog.
it could be that, or like how often you do them, or like how often you go back to them, or yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, because you don't do them anymore,
I
so
never
he's
do them.
just yeah, it could be
Yeah.
that too. So he's just like he doesn't really have that association anymore, maybe, or he's just he finds like his enrichment and
Yeah.
association. He finds his positive association elsewhere because you've built up so much positivity and like real hunts and stuff. So
Hmm.
he kind of like just doesn't have that with like his boxes anymore. Did you do more
Yeah.
boxes or like tubes with him? Or you just
I did
imprinted?
everything.
Okay.
When I imprinted him, I did the tubes only, but um but then like I moved to boxes, you
Okay.
know.
Yeah.
We did like a lot of like lineup, like just like Amazon boxes and stuff like that. And then but then I would also like just take like a random box and take it to like let's say Home Depot and like hide it somewhere and then he would find the box. And then I would
Yeah.
take the tube and take it to Lowe's and then he would just find the
Yeah.
tube and like whatever. Uh but and he loved that, you know, like because I started imprinting him when he was 12 weeks old, so
Yeah.
he loved the lineups. That was like his whole thing, his whole life, you know.
Yeah.
But then I feel like when you really are busy and you have, you know, a 6 days a week contract, like obviously you're not
You're
gonna,
not gonna go do boxes after.
yeah, because it's just not,
Yeah.
it wasn't something that was relevant to our searches.
Yeah.
Like,
I
you
guess
know,
Yeah, I guess that's true. Now that I think about it with Asani, like, I guess I'm now realizing she also used to love boxes and lineups more. Like, she
mhm,
still loves them, but I guess that's true. She did used to love them a little bit more.
mhm,
But now that she's like 6, yeah, she probably doesn't love them as much as Mano for sure. But yeah,
yeah.
she probably definitely used to love them more. But yeah, I would say high memory versus low memory. I don't know. I think if you have the right like training in place, I think I don't know. I think there's pros and cons to both. So I think if you have the right
Yeah,
training in
sure.
place, it doesn't matter. Um
Well,
yeah.
I think the most important thing is like you as a handler, you
Yeah.
have to know how to read your
Yeah.
dog. That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Because when Tanner falses, I know he's falsing
Yeah.
because he's totally different than when he's actually an odor. When he's
Yeah.
actually an odor, like he actually sniffs and then he backs up and he's sitting really good.
Yeah, very
And
different
then
emotion.
yeah, when he's falsing, he just sits.
Yeah.
You're like, bro, you didn't even
Yeah, like
search that.
pay me.
You're annoying. Yeah.
Yeah, so
And
I
then
think
just like little things.
yeah. Yeah, and I think if you're a really good handler, I think high versus low memory doesn't matter necessarily. I think I don't know, I might argue high memory might have a little more pros, but I think it's easier to mess up. I think you are correct that high
Yeah.
memory is easier to mess up, but I think if you have the right training in place, there might be more pros to it, but I do
Hmm.
agree that it is easier to mess up.
Yeah.
So, and then yeah, obedience versus hunt drive. I do think there's a time and a place for both, but I do think generally, like having a dog with like the bulk of it higher hunt drive, and then like having a smaller percentage, like the tail end of it, having some obedience drive, but I don't think the bulk of your dog's drive should be obedience drive for like a full-time
Yeah. And I feel
protection
like,
dog. Like I just don't think that's I don't yeah, I don't think that's like the most ideal.
and for people that are listening, I don't know if they know, like, I'm going to give an example of like another obedience drive would be, let's say we're in a room and there's pallets, and then we find the odor, right, on the pallet. And then let's say the odor is like at the bottom, but the dog alerts like on the other side, right? And so we're like, okay, he's not in odor. He's in odor, but he's not at source. Kind of like let him figure it out. Blah blah. If he doesn't figure it out, you kind of like usually you kind of help them, right? So you help them a little bit, and then they're on it, and then I feel like this is where Tanner struggles. Like if he finds it on his own that first time, he's good. But then if I send him back, then I don't think he's actually searching. It's just an odor thing for like I mean not odor thing.
Mm,
It's just an obedience thing.
obedience.
You know what I mean?
No,
Like
yeah,
the
this
send
is what
backs.
yeah, we talked about.
Yeah.
That was a thing that we were talking about that day
Yes.
at Cameron's,
Yeah.
and we were like, that's just obedience then. That's not really the dog like searching, so should we be sending the dog back?
Yeah.
Remember?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I
Because
think
that's
that's
where
a good that's maybe a whole nother topic
I
because
know.
that's a good discussion. That's a whole nother
Mhm.
discussion, I think, and maybe another
Yeah, it's
topic.
hard. You have to be really careful with like sending your dog back to odor, because especially when it's kind of hard at first for them to pinpoint it, and
Yeah.
then we don't know where the odor's coming from. Like,
Yeah, you don't.
how do I know where the strongest source is? It could be where he alerted. Just because
Yeah,
the odor is there, it doesn't mean it's not there. And
exactly.
then the dog's kind of confused. He's like, well, what the hell? Like, I told you it's right here. You're telling me it's here. Okay, then you're sending me back and I'm getting my ball. So it's
Yeah,
like, is he an
it's
odor or is he
it's
an obedience?
exactly. And then theoretically, you could be putting the dog up on an obedience send
Yeah,
instead
yeah,
of
yeah,
instead
exactly.
of literally putting the dog up on a really good sourcing like end. The dog,
Yeah.
it's just humans being OCD and needing to send the dog back again and again and again. And like I'm guilty of this too. We need to send the dog back again, let him source again, instead of
Hmm.
just putting the dog up on that one really good sourcing end and just ending on that. But we need to send the dog back again and let him go source it again. When really, if you send him back, it could be exactly what you said. The dog's just going and like maybe they're sourcing, maybe they're literally not, and they're just running to it and sitting. And
Because they're
then
getting the reward,
yeah,
especially with
yeah,
our
and they're
dogs,
not
they're
even
doing it for themselves. Like
yeah, and
they're
then they're
like,
just
shit, this is great.
sitting, and
Yeah.
then you're putting them up on that, and then yeah, exactly what we said. If you're
Because I can
sending them back
tell
3 times,
when
they're
I'm sending him back, I can tell when he's fucking with me because he'll do this like annoying peck thing where he'll like peck it and then look at me and it's like, dude, you're not searching. You're just this now you're just being a dick and
pecking.
you're
What do you
like
mean by that?
like he'll be like I'll have to find a video and send it to you, but like when he's being a dick, like when I know it's like he's not exactly at source, but he will like we try to like send him back, he'll like kind of like punch it, like kind of like boop it with his
Oh,
nose a little bit.
oh, boop, yeah.
Yeah, like he'll like boop it and then he'll look at me and then I'll reward it, but it's like, okay, now I rewarded what? Him just booping the thing. Like he wasn't
Exactly.
searching, he wasn't sniffing.
Exactly. Instead
Yeah.
of instead of just ending on the one really good one.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. Yeah, and I think that's important. Like I know a lot of people want to get in like reps a lot, but I honestly that's one thing that I would probably take away from my training with Tanner, like
Send
with a new
backs.
dog. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to do send backs like that. Like if it's hard and they can't find it, you know what? We're gonna chalk it off as this was maybe we gotta take it back a little bit, but I'm not gonna send him back and
Yeah,
like show him,
exactly.
you know?
Yeah,
Because how do we know that they're searching through obedience or is it actually them at source? Like yeah.
exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
And that's another like thing that you have to like read your dog because I can tell when he's not searching, when he's just but I'm guilty of like rewarding him doing that behavior though.
Yeah,
So, you know,
exactly. Yeah,
because you're like,
me too.
what if he is at source
You're
and
like,
I
well,
don't
what
know?
if?
Yeah. It's
For
just annoying
sure.
because you don't know.
I
Yeah.
know. It's so hard to know and then you get worried and you're like, well, I just want to reward
Did
my
I mess him
dog.
up?
And on
Yeah.
yeah, and on a good note, you don't want to mess them up and then you get so
Yeah.
like nervous about messing them up and ending on a good note and
Well, that's like another thing I want to do with my next detection dog is like I'm gonna make more mistakes with them, and I want them to like I want us to be more stressed in like the imprinting. I know that sounds like
What do you mean?
bad, but like I just don't want it always to be like I'm not gonna want to be like I remember when I was imprinting Tanner, I was so afraid to like move to the next odor for a little bit because
Oh,
I really didn't want to mess up him not knowing that odor like as much as I wanted him to, you know? Like I'm like
yeah.
he's gonna have to know this odor is gonna be like he's gonna know this odor like crazy, you know?
Yeah.
And I would just like kind of be not stuck, it's not the right word, but use that like let's say I was just using Semtex for like a really long time until like putting in another one because I'm like he's not gonna know this, not gonna know
Yeah,
this, and
yeah,
I'm like
yeah. You get
you know, I was
stuck.
trying to tell people like, dude, we're gonna put up RDX and Semtex are similar.
Yeah.
RDX has Semtex in it. He's gonna find it. I'm like, okay, and then immediately, like, it's like I didn't even have to imprint him on RDX because he already recognized that, and it
Right.
was just like
Because of
easy.
Semtex. Yeah.
And all the other ones was like super easy just to, you know, implement all the other odors because every odor has some kind of like component in it that they recognize. So, you know, I guess like I want to not like I want to move faster, but I still want to like put them through stress. I don't want it to always be like, oh my God, this is always so fun, you know? Because
Yeah.
I do
And
think
like
stress does build like a dog. Yeah.
hold their paw through it.
Yeah.
Hold their little hand.
Oh,
Their little
yeah.
paw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Well, this is fun. Anything else we wanted to talk about?
oh, I think that's good.
Yeah.
We're just rambling.
Yeah, just rambling at this point. Well, thanks for
Oh.
joining us for our 4th episode. And we hope to see you next time.